exploring the fascinating world of dreams. We're joined by one of the most widely recognized experts in the field, Lauri Loewenberg. Do we dream in other dimensions? Is life just a dream and we're going to wake up in heaven? Tonight we get deep. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Tonight we get deep on leading out loud.
There are so many people that are disconnected from their internal guidance. My mission is to change that.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
I'm your tarot master and bad vibe blaster.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Welcome to Leading Out Loud, where we aim to be the biggest spiritual shift show on earth. Joining me is our Motley mystical crew tonight, representing the angels in heaven, angel communicator Devon Duerr, calling in the powers of tarot cards and the ancient occult, tarot master Reck, and speaking out loud for the dead, psychic medium Cruz. I am here, of course, to represent the planets. I am psychic astrologer Christopher Witecki. And we're coming to you live, streaming to each of our audiences, as well as our YouTube home channel at LOL Leading Out Loud. Wherever you're watching, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell button so you're notified. And please like this video so the YouTube algorithm will know the awesome power of the light. And of course, we have everyone in our super chat. Say hello if you're chatting with us. We are monitoring. We'd love to know your astrology sign and where you're chatting from. And we are always looking for suggestions on how to improve. This week, we're super excited about our show. We're going to talk about dreams. And our guest, Lauri Loewenberg, is a world-renowned expert in the field. I personally had her as a guest on my talk show, Astral Mingle on Sirius Joy. And I'll tell you, she's amazing. You're in for a treat. And we're going to talk first, though, about this week's energy. I don't know about y'all, but today is step 20 Gemini. And so we're starting in the third decan of Gemini. And this is usually a shift show in itself because anything with 20 and above is emotional. And so I feel like people are getting really kind of worked up. I had a lot of conversations today where people just worked up, had to get a lot off their chest, a lot of things they've been holding back. I think Jupiter's adding gravity to the whole dimension. And then we have Neptune at 29 degrees, which is one of the reasons why we're actually doing this show, which is really a test of spirituality. But it creates a very thin veil between worlds, Neptune at 29, including the waking and the dreaming world, the psychic and the awake world. So this week coming ahead, I feel like we're going to come into our heart, but it's going to be a little turbulent for the next couple of days because we're trying to get our mind wrapped around where the hell our lives are going. So I feel like it's going to be a little bumpy, but I predict by the end of the week, you're going to be committed to a plan for how you want to move forward in what I call the summer of love. But that's just what's going on in the astrology. Anyone want to chime in on what they're picking up on?
I mean, just more turbulence, more turbulence. Been like that for the past couple months, right? I mean, so it's a different type of heaviness, though. Like I feel like I'm walking in like the water type of thing. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like go fast, but I can't kind of go fast. So I think that it really is a time to like self-reflect. Are you making the right decisions? Are you being needed? And I think that's another thing. Are people needing you too much? And what are your boundaries? And can we go full screen? And what are your boundaries? And so there we go. Hi, guys.
You're not a Leo.
So yeah. But I think it's now the time to decipher if you're being pulled too much and if you're being, too responsible for others. Because I think now is a time to start feeling pulled from a lot of people, or that you need to take responsibility for things that you have not been taking responsibility for. So there's a great dichotomy when it comes to responsibility. I think this current week primarily, and where you stand in responsibility. Are you too much or not enough? Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, like, where's the motivation is what I feel like saying here with these two cards as well for this week. Even this morning, like I woke up and I had no motivation, like even just like knowing what I wanted to work on this morning, knowing what I wanted to do and kind of like where I'm going. So I think Christopher put it best. And so like, where can you be motivated? That's my question to all of you. So I'm going to go to Devon because that's all I got.
Yeah, Chris, that makes so much sense about where's my motivation, because the big message from the angels for this week is making sure you're waiting for the right time to act. We have so much energy going on. You might feel like I just have to make a decision or else I'm going to miss out on everything. And that is not actually the right action to take. what they're encouraging you to do is gain your personal power from getting curious. Ask questions, whether this is a romantic relationship, whether this is a relationship with somebody you're collaborating with, or having to do with your own higher self. And like you said, Scott, reflecting, going within. The big thing to remember is you need plenty of time to rest and restore your energy. So if you're feeling run down, if you feel like there's too much going on, ask for help. Get curious, get the details there. In fact, that's the key word for this week is curiosity. So I do have a pocket affirmation for you. I would like to invite you to put in the comments in the live chat or below this video if you're watching later. I easily receive and remember positive messages in my dreams, which is, of course, perfect for the topic we have today. I easily receive and remember positive messages in my dreams. That will help you understand when is the right time to act and where do you need to get curious and ask more questions. Does that fit with the astrology, Christopher?
It does. And I want to underscore, we'll have Lauri Loewenberg here talking about dreams a little bit. But yes, I feel ultimately with Jupiter and Gemini, we are trying to wrap our heads around a new way of thinking about ourselves. I think it's causing a lot of I'm not the same person I was before Unite the Light.
Right.
And I feel like this Gemini season has been really showing that. Neptune at 29, though, I mean, interesting enough too. Have you had, I mean, we'll talk about this with Lauri, but have you all experienced either increased dream activity in the last 3 weeks, psychic dreams the last 3 weeks, or from your clients?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've been feeling like these dreams are forced to look at not so much like the past self, but the new self, and kind of bringing me, showing to me this is where you're going, not what you've been, not what you're doing, but where you're going. So I've been feeling a lot of that type of new version of self being reflected to me in my dream space, but also understanding and I'll get into it when Lauri comes on. I have a really fantastic experience I just had, but almost showing to me that I have control. So even though these certain dreams we have are kind of really feel suffocated, but it's I actually have control to kind of maneuver it. And so I think I've been showing a lot of my potential possibilities of the future. So a lot of people might be feeling that as well. But also reflection of what's been anchoring you, you know?
Yeah, the potential has been a key thing that I've been hearing from clients and friends and family, but also myself, where it's go higher, go higher. A lot of the things in my dreams, it's showing me there's things that I haven't even realized are possible that I can do. And I'm hearing this from other people too. They're realizing I've always wanted this, but I've always told myself I couldn't. And now I think I really can. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I haven't had dreams like that. Although Scott said something, and I have had a lot of dreams where I'm if I think about it, it's they are pushing me towards something new, higher, towards something better. Even, this morning I woke up and I was just I felt like I wanted more from, life and the things that I'm doing. And, but I also felt that kind of the other side of not being sure exactly what to do or, even what actions to take. So, but yeah, the dream thing, good one, Scott, because that's really got me thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I think also there's a lot of past life stuff coming up as well with Neptune at 29, which is something that, you're either aware of or you're not aware of. I wasn't even aware of past lives until my 40s. So, and I was a person who was looking for that the whole time. But I have been getting lots of people telling me they're having dreams about Atlantis, that they're having dreams of the island sinking now, which goes along with my prediction. I felt like once Pluto hit Aquarius 2 degrees, we're going to have access to those dimensions and timelines. Oh, sure. And so I can affirm that's definitely coming through. And I think the connection of Pluto and Aquarius sort of opens up the frequency. And then Neptune at 29 is sort of opening up a portal to spirit. So we really have a huge energetic portal open. And I'm seeing lots of signs of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
The only other last thing is Mars just went into Taurus, so I'm going to officially be a jerk for the next 6 weeks. I want everyone to know that.
Next 6 weeks. You're very generous there, Christopher.
Well, it's a Mars and Taurus transit, but it does mean that, a lot of Tauruses will be seeing red. So everyone be careful. Just giving you your fair warning. I don't like the color red. All right. Now, speaking of color, tonight's host, or actually tonight's sponsor, we want to talk about real quick. We're the Lemurian Life Expo. A good friend of ours who's actually been on the show. We haven't aired it yet. Ruben Langdon. He is sort of an extra dimensional expert. He has Interview with EDs. That's his famous show. It's on Gaia TV. You might have seen it on the internet. He's just found the greatest collection of channels and mediums, basically the alien version of this show. Basically, all the people who all these different varieties of channelers from aliens. And so they're all going to be there on Mount Shasta, basically on summer solstice, talking about Lemurian civilization. Now, do any of you have any insight, psychic or logical of Lemurians?
I'm feeling a huge call to connect with the Lemurians. I am honored I'm going to be able to attend this event in person and meet all these amazing channelers. And I don't know a lot about the Lemurians, but I've always felt called to visit Mount Shasta. So this will be my first connection there too. So I'm eager to learn. I invite anybody out there who can't attend in person to do the live stream, because I know all these talented people there are going to be teaching us so much.
Yeah, and the alien perspective is interesting too. I mean, I find it interesting. We all channel entities all day long for a living, right? And but it's interesting to hear an alien's perspective on Earth. It just is to me, like what the Palladians are saying, etc.
Right. There's a lot of like thoughts that, the aliens are like our future selves communicating through us. And so we're getting information of the future. So there's a lot of ideas about that. I know Bashar, channeled by Daryl Inca, he tends to think that that's his future self giving him information. So, I mean, there's limitless possibilities when you're a channel for sure. And getting information, so many different levels of consciousness. So I think ETs are just, and interdimensional beings too, are just like the tip of the iceberg of what we can, channel and connect with. So I'm glad that there's becoming more versed in our community about channeling and such. It's great.
Yeah, Ruben does such a great job of bringing us all these amazing channels together in a place where you can connect and see it. And I mean, I've learned so much from Ruben and his guests on my own.
Yeah.
So I highly encourage you to check that out.
Down to earth. Like, it's kind of down to earth. It's not, it's
so
out there,
gentle
but
and down to earth. Yep.
Yeah.
Mount Shasta is a shift show, guys. It's highly energetic. It's the root chakra of the earth. So it's pretty intense. It forces any kind of root chakra stuff you have. Allegedly, the Lemurians, which was an ancient civilization that was basically wiped out by Atlantis went to war with them. The Lemurians, in a big earth tragic event, actually fled and created a civilization under the mountain of Mount Shasta. And so this is some of the things that we're going to be hearing light to. And plus you have all these mystics, connecting. There's even a night where they meditate and I think try to connect to the aliens. So it's going to be a blast. I can't wait to be there. And I think we do have a little promo to show to give you guys an idea of what you're going to see.
Digging that music.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm digging it. Feels very Lemurian. Awesome. Well, like many of you out there, folks, we are all fascinated by our dreams, and we're thrilled to welcome the top dream analyst in the field, Lauri Loewenberg, today. For nearly 3 decades, Lauri's been studying and interpreting dreams. She's an author, appeared on countless shows, and analyzed and researched more than 50,000 dreams by people of all walks of life across the globe. Her mission is to help people decipher the meaning behind their dreams so they can improve their lives and their relationships with others. Gang, please give me a warm welcome and round of applause for dream expert and Step 16 Aries, Lauri Loewenberg.
Yay! Hello, darlings.
There she is.
There she is. So nice. Coming up from the subconscious. Thank you for coming here. We're so excited. Let me open up the questions here, Lauri. Everyone has dreams, obviously. It's a big part of the human experience. In your expert opinion, what is the interest that we should take in our dreams? Why are dreams important for an individual in their growth?
Dreams are important because your dreaming mind is the most powerful part of who you are. It is your dreams are your built-in superpower. They are the way you navigate your life, figure out your issues, problem solve, come up with amazing, creative, sometimes even million-dollar ideas while you're sleeping. And it's such a powerful form of thought, because when you go to sleep, you turn out the outside world and all the distractions. Hopefully your TV's off, your lights are off, your eyes are closed, everything outward is shut down. So you go
Mm.
deeper and deeper into yourself, deep into your subconscious mind, deep into your soul. And you're thinking on this deep, soulful, subconscious level about your life, about your relationships, about everything that's going on right now. And you're exploring and finding a new way of looking at things, a new way of problem solving, a new way of making your life better. And that is the purpose of dreams, to improve your life and to become the you that you were put here to be.
Mm. And pull out what's hiding.
Yeah,
It seems like.
that's where all the answers are. They're hiding deep in your subconscious.
Someone? Anyone? Jump in.
Well,
Okay, I'll follow up. Sorry, we didn't. So, given that context, then, what about? And you answered this on my show when you're on my show here exclusively. What is your perspective on the precognitive in dreams? Because that's probably the number one thing that I hear all the time. Is like it seems to be a tool to teach people that we have psychic ability. It seems to be one of the things that it does. What are your thoughts on precognitive? Have you had precognitive?
I have,
Okay.
yes. The biggest one I had one right before 9/11. And I think a lot of people did, because it was such a cosmic shift, like this ripple effect going through time in the universe, that because time is not linear, it's circular. So it was such a ripple effect. A lot of people were picking up on it in the dream state. So that's one big precognitive dream I had. And another one was when our dog, our husky, got scared by the garbage men and took off, and we couldn't find her for days. And I had a dream that showed me where to find her, and we've had precognitive dreams throughout history that are historically documented, like the sinking of the Titanic actually being hit by an iceberg. People have dreamed of that.
Wow, really?
Happened. Yes. Abraham Lincoln dreamed of his own death.
Yes.
Funeral in the White House.
An Aquarius.
Princess Diana dreamed of her own death. Martin Luther King dreamed of his own death. So, these big cosmic ripples that happen in the universe, we're able to pick up on in the dream state, because if you look at the way the brain works, brain frequencies work in waves. And with each stage of sleep, the brain wave frequency lowers with each stage of sleep. And when we enter REM dream sleep, it's like our brains are working at that perfect frequency where we can tune in like a radio and connect and pick up on all the other vibrations out there in the universe. Everything, our universe is made of vibration. So in the dream state, we're able to pick up on the vibrations of the consciousness of our deceased loved ones, of the collective unconscious, the creative ideas, the past, the future, everything's circular, and it's all just this interwoven vibrational connectivity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lauri.
We know.
we know for sure, Lauri. And I also had a premonition dream about 9/11. So I have not met anybody else who had, but I did hear the same thing that many people did. I just haven't met anybody yet that said that. And it brings to mind another common question that I will give with clients is having animals show up in your dream and how they can be interpreted differently. Would you speak to that kind of symbolism in the dreams and just dream symbols?
Yes, absolutely. So by dream symbols in dream psychology, we call them archetypes, which are common elements in our dreams that we all have, that mean something similarly among all of us. So for example, the dog is one of the most common dreams we all dream about. And of course, every dream is, and the meaning of it is colored by your own personal life experiences. But archetypically, the dog will tend to represent loyalty, friendship, companionship in your life. So when you dream of a dog, you want to look at your relationships. If you've got a sick or dying dog, what relationship in your life is sick or dying?
Oh, wow.
If you have an aggressive dog, what relationship in your life makes you feel victimized or is unhealthy for you? The cat is another common dream symbol, and that archetypically will tend to represent female sexual energy
Meow,
and
meow, meow, meow.
independence. So, if there's something wrong with your cat, if you got like neglected cats in your basement, well, what's going on in that area of your life? Have you not,
Right.
you need some?
Meow,
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of every dream is specific, of course, to one's own personal experiences, but there's a lot of common, like we were saying, common signs and symbols that we get. Like, for example, the teeth falling out, the teeth pulling. What's your interpretation of the whole teeth dream and pulling the teeth? What does that usually represent? Because that's one I hear a lot with my clients.
Okay, so the teeth dream is so common because it's connected to a very common human behavior issue. Now, teeth and dreams and anything having to do with the mouth, the tongue, the throat area will usually be connected to communication. So if your teeth fall out, if they're falling out and you're trying to catch them or keep them in, that's usually connected to loose speech. Saying something without thinking about it first, saying something you wish you could take back and put in your mouth and keep it like your teeth. Another common teeth dream, and this is the one I get, is where your teeth like crack or crumble or break.
Yeah.
And so that's usually connected to weak speech. Things that are weak crumble, crack, break. So you'll get that dream and you feel like perhaps you didn't hold up your end of an argument, you didn't make your point strong enough, or you just didn't say something to the degree you wanted to say it.
So basically, I need to shut the hell up, basically.
So you get the teeth falling out a lot.
I have a lot of my
He's growing teeth.
They keep growing back in. I keep pulling them out. But that's very helpful. Very helpful in that regard.
Very helpful.
And of course, another thing that we talked about on the last show is people passing. That seems to be another very common theme. It seems like people will be visited usually about 40 days to 90 days after is just the range. I always ask my clients,
40.
when did they come? There's a rumor out there, you walk the earth for 40 days or something. But interestingly enough, but my grandfather appeared to me and offered me all the stuff in his garage. And then the next morning we found out he died the next morning. So what is your experience with connecting to the other side?
That is one of my favorite things to talk about and explore with my clients or just anyone, is the dreams we have after the death of a loved one.
Yeah.
Because it gives us hope, and gives us a glimpse and a connection to what is next. And they do tend to come, and I have found it's usually within the first year, and within that first year, it's usually within the first 2 months.
Yep.
We'll get some sort of communication from them. Now, it's important to keep in mind the difference between a contact dream and just a grief dream, or just a dream where the person is a symbol of something else. So the way to tell the difference is, well, it just feels different. It's not just a dream. It's like almost like you have had an experience in another world or another life when you have that dream. It feels different, and it's almost hard to explain.
It's another intelligence. You know what I mean? Like you can feel another intelligence coming back. And I used to tell people, your loved ones are always trying to get a hold of you, but you're the least resistant when you're sleeping. So they can get a hold of you a lot easier. So I like to tell my clients about that, the intelligence that you were saying. It's so true.
Yes. And then, you all your distractions are not there. You've gone to yourself, and your brain waves are at that perfect frequency, where you can tune in like a radio and their vibration.
Right.
And so it feels different. It does not leave you ever. The decades later, it's like you had it just last night.
It's true.
And the communication they have with you, typically it's, I'm okay. Everything's great. I'm still here.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
And they look great. They look like the best they've ever looked. And also, a lot of these dreams tend to take place in a kitchen, which is something I've noticed.
Interesting.
Yes, because the kitchen is a place of nurturing and fulfillment and feeding the soul, So I that's my favorite part of what I do, is being able to talk about the dreams we have where we've connected with those that have passed on. And they will also sometimes tell us a little bit, but not a lot about what it's like where they are. Because there's like some kind of block. Well, I can't
Yeah.
tell you.
I found that too. It's almost like,
Yeah.
you're just not meant to know this, or
Yes.
yeah,
We can't, in this body, in this limited structure we're in, we can't handle it, maybe.
yeah. And I feel like too, like you were saying, like it's so different. Like definitely dreams I've had with passed away people are, you never forget them. It's like I had the dream last night, but you're also left with some sort of message, like you said. And sometimes the message is more of a feeling than words, right? Because I've had people say, well, they didn't talk. They just looked at me. And it's like, yeah, but what did you feel? Because like you said, it's a feeling that's so different that you haven't had in your mundane dreams, correct?
Yeah, it's just different. And it's a lot of these dreams are life changing.
Yes. Mine have been for sure. I know
Yeah,
that
mine
with the
too.
passed away loved ones. Yes. I saw the one about your grandfather. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that with the audience? Because it's so powerful.
Yes. Okay. And this is actually because of this dream, I studied dream psychology and became who I am today.
Wow.
So I was 19 and my grandfather died, and he was the first person close to me, the first like real death I experienced. And it was the funeral was open casket, and so it was the first, body. And that wasn't him in that casket, and it was hard. And I went into a very deep depression after that for about 2 weeks. It was just life just was different. And life just seemed like, why do we live when we just die? So I went through this huge existential crisis, and it was about 2 weeks after that. And I had a dream where I'm walking arm in arm with him through this art museum. And I knew he had died. I knew he was dead. And so I said, Papa, because I'm from Tennessee and we say Papa. I said, Papa, what's it like where you are now? And he said, well, I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that it's secure. And then he gave me a hug, and he started walking up the staircase. It was a staircase in the museum, but it was also the spiral staircase in my house that led up to my bedroom. And he started walking up that, and that's when I began to wake up. And then I just laid there for the longest time, feeling him and smelling his old spice and saying to myself, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And I told my grandmother, I told my family, everyone about the dream I had, and they were like, wow, that was great. And that never left me. And that was the dream that made me decide I need to find out what this is. Because that was like another world, another life, a whole nother existence. And long story short, I went on to study dream psychology, and here I am.
Yeah. Very life-changing indeed.
Yes.
Like that.
Brilliant. Well, we're actually going to come back after a quick little spokesperson from that we all know very well, our second sponsor today. And when we come back, we'll talk about each of us have like a dream we want to share, just like that one, Lauri. So we appreciate that. But first, our next sponsor today, Mr. Reck.
Yeah, it's me. I see a bunch of you dent makers in the group. And so tonight I want to talk about dent makers, and I am doing a special implementation session on Sunday, the 16th. I think that's this coming Sunday. I don't even know what today is, but I'm pretty sure. And we are doing an implementation session. It's going to be about a 3-hour long workshop where we walk you through the whole process of making your own dent in the universe. That could be social media or otherwise. And also, when you join, you get access to Dent Makers Forever. Dent Makers is a knowledge network where we're having experts and me teaching classes all about making your dent in the universe, whatever that means for you. Most of the things in there kind of talk about, kind of social media, improving your life. It's kind of like a holistic training where we talk about everything. And we have a bunch of people shouting out Dent Makers in the group. So this is going to be the last chance to get lifetime access as well. After this, we're going to monthly. So before we have our official launch is kind of like an early bird pre-launch, and that's Dent Makers. You can also secretly, this is a secret, go to dentmakersutl.com, and you can watch, if you want to know what Dent Makers actually is, you can watch the whole presentation there, but watch it after this episode.
I love that. And I've learned so much from Chris Reck about social media and the channels and just the way he brings it to a way that you can understand how to do it and make it doable one step at a time. So thank you, Chris. I wanted
Thank
to say
you.
that
I
personally.
think I met somebody.
I wouldn't be
Definitely
here without
check out
you.
his course.
I think
Well,
I might have met
do it.
someone who's going to your course. Someone made a big dent in my car last week, and I'm having to do it.
Hey, come to think of it, I've got
Don't
to do
don't
don't
be
send
those
me
type of dent
no,
makers, okay?
I'm not gonna pay for that. So.
All right. Well, yeah, this brings us to the next topic of talking about dreams. And I'll open up here myself too. First of all, let's ask a question. Lauri, why do you think it is that we cannot remember our dreams? Like, that is the most frustrating thing to me. I mean, like, I will get up to go to the bathroom and it's gone.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have tips for remembering dreams?
Before you go to the bathroom, write it down or record it in your phone if you can hold it.
Yes.
Because dreams, by their nature, are short-term memories. And a great deal of the dreaming process happens in the same part of the brain where short-term memories are stored. So it's and there's a lot of biochemical processes that are going on that I'm not going to bore you with why dreams are hard to remember, but the biggest element is that they do happen in the same part of the brain where short-term memories are. So they're not going to stick around long. When you wake up, you got about 90 seconds to capture that dream before it slips away. So here's what you want to do to start remembering your dreams every single morning. Because remember, you dream every night. Whether you remember it or not, it's a natural necessary function of the brain.
Mhm.
Every 90 minutes, we have REM dream sleep. So you can have 5 dreams a night or more, depending on how long you sleep. So what you want to do whenever you wake up, whether it's in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or you're waking up for good in the morning, this is crucial and it's super easy. Stay put. Stay in the exact same position you woke up in, because that is the position your body was in when you were dreaming. So when you wake up, do not move. And on top of that, keep your eyes closed and don't think about anything. Quiet your mind and give yourself like 5 minutes to let the dream come back to you. And you may only just have a song on your mind, or maybe just a feeling, or maybe, there was a horse, something about a horse. Great. Write it down. That's a great start. So the more you do this every night and morning, it's like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. And then before you know it, you'll be remembering every single dream throughout the night. And of course, write it down before breakfast, because if you don't, it'll be gone.
So you can train yourself to remember your dreams, because I hear that all the time. I've never remembered my dreams. I hear people say that. Why do you think some people don't remember? Did they block it from a young age?
There's several reasons why people don't remember their dreams. The biggest reason you're not remembering dreams is how you wake up in the morning.
Okay.
So if you just jump out of bed and get your day started,
Right.
you've killed all your ability to remember your dreams.
Got it.
So you got to, give yourself that magical 5 minutes before you get up and start your day. Another reason is just the type of personality you are. If you're more right-brained and more creative and artistic, a writer, an inventor, artist, a songwriter, it's going to be easier for you to remember your dreams, because it's just natural. It comes naturally to you, as opposed to like the investment banker. It's, the left brain, analytical numbers person doesn't come as easy.
Right.
Another reason is giving your dreams importance. Just recognizing that I am a dreaming individual. I dream every night. I recognize their importance. I want to make them a part of my life. And then there's also the people that have had trauma or something where they have to block it. The path that something has turned on in their subconscious where they're blocking things.
Right.
Also medications, certain medications can block REM sleep.
I was thinking that as well. Yeah. And don't you think too, like, even though some people may not remember their dreams, like they still get the downloads too. Cause I feel like sometimes they may not remember their dreams, but they wake up differently with a newer found perspective in life. So sometimes if they don't visually remember, they're still getting the downloads. So sometimes it's going to be right to pay attention to how you feel when you wake up
benefit.
too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, whenever there's a dilemma, you're trying to figure out something's just a problem you have to solve, and we'll tend to say, okay, well, let me sleep on it.
Right.
because you wake up with clarity because you dreamed on it.
Right.
You
Oh,
figured it
yeah.
out in the REM phase of
That's right.
sleep. Even if you don't remember the dream, you still were able to
Configure.
figure it out, wake up and go, I've got it.
Pops in. So
Yeah.
throw by you kind of a wonky. I don't know if I brought this up before, but I have this recurring dream where I have the ability to fly around this place with a purple sky and sparkles can come out of my hands.
Really?
Yes.
You're gay to pass life.
I visit this place like once a month. I don't know what we're doing, but we're on the resistance and we're all hiding from the government. Now it sounds, maybe I'm outing myself here. there's no
Okay,
secret
but
meth
it's
lab.
purple and sparkles. Are you sure you're not having my dream?
Oh, really? Oh, that's where I recognize you.
Yeah.
There was a flying mermaid. I remember.
So you're flying in a purple sky and
Yes.
sparkles come out of your hands, but you're flying because you're trying to avoid or hide?
We're flying around. We're working as a resistance. It's weird. It just keeps playing over. It's been my whole life.
Oh, your whole life.
Yeah, it makes me feel like it feels like I'm living in another dimension.
Interesting.
I mean, that's my now takeaway. You know, that it's some other dimension. Do you believe that we can shift dimensions in our dreams?
So I think we kind of touched on this when I was on your show before, that I tend to lean more very pragmatic,
Right.
psychological, as
Right.
opposed to spiritual and ethereal with dream work.
Understood.
But due to my own personal experiences and a lot of my clients and just the way things have been going on, I am becoming more and more open to that ethereal, dimensional, otherworldly side. So I'm becoming more and more open to it. So
Come to the dark side.
the
fun over
purple
here.
sparkly side.
This is a good segue here, then, Lauri, because I know each of us had a dream we wanted to share with you, and if that's okay, I'd love to maybe go to Chris. We haven't heard from Chris Reck in a while. Did you have a dream that you wanted to share? Because I want to hear what
Mine. Yeah, mine's like a recurring nightmare. I worked at Starbucks like 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago was like the last time I worked there, almost 10 years ago. And so after I left, I've had this recurring dream ever since that I've had to go back to work at Starbucks. I think it's because that might be my biggest fear, is like having to stop doing what I'm doing. But yeah, that's my recurring nightmare that I have, from time to time.
Okay, so there's a lot of people, probably a lot of your viewers ago, and I have some version of that dream. It's really common to dream we're back in. Was this your first job?
No, it was like my, I don't know, like 5th job, 6th job, something like that.
Clearly the worst.
The worst, yeah.
The worst? Okay, that's significant.
Yeah.
Now, how frequently do you get this?
I've had it probably, I would say, since it happens every couple years, probably about 5
Okay,
times.
so it's not that frequent.
No, it's not that frequent, but it does come up.
Okay, all right. So what is the biggest element of the dream?
I'm I literally, it will be me going in like the first day back to work.
Starting all over again.
Yep.
Do you
Starting.
have the awareness that you've done this before?
Yep, I have the awareness. Like, I can't believe that I'm back. Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe I have to do this again.
Okay, I get a similar dream, but it's high school that I have to do all over again. I'm like, I've already done this. I can't believe I'm doing this again.
Yeah.
And you only get it maybe once a year.
Right.
Okay, so is there anything else that goes on in the dream? Like, what is the biggest thing you hate about it in the dream?
I think it's just the fact that I had to go back, the fact that I have to get a job, like have to go to work and, be there.
Okay, so you will probably get this dream whenever you're having a setback in real life.
Probably.
Yeah, so it could be a relationship setback. It could be a career setback. It could be maybe some other project you're working on and that falls apart. And it's something where you have to start over again. I can't believe I have to do this again. And so it's interesting that it's just Starbucks as opposed to any other job that you've had. And you said that's the job you hated the most.
I don't think I hated it. It was just, just dragged on. It was like, I felt like I was there forever.
Okay. So is that what stands out the most about that particular job?
Yeah, I think so. And it's funny that you said that about setbacks and things, because that's like I had a business and then it failed, and I was still working at Starbucks at the time. So, and then I was like trying to work on my other businesses as well, and like constantly trying to get ahead in those. So I think that makes perfect sense.
Okay, so Starbucks was also represents a time period in your
Yep.
life where you were trying to
Mhm.
start something different and new.
Yep.
So Starbucks will forever be the imprint, the visual for whenever you feel you got to start over again. Or not that you have to, but you fear, oh no.
Yeah,
So
right.
what you take from it is that, okay, here I am in this psychological, emotional place again. What to jumpstart, to kickstart, to boost, myself, so I don't have to ever get to this starting over point again.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I guess, yeah. And then I had one recently too. I mean, I've had sleep paralysis before, like waking up, and I've had that a few times.
Yeah,
Like I'm crawling, trying to get in my, but I just had this last week actually when we were preparing for the show. And I was dreaming I was in my room that is now, but I was dreaming I was having sleep paralysis in my dream. And in the dream, I was trying to scream, wake me up, wake me up, wake me up. And I couldn't move or scream at all. And there was an earthquake, and then I woke up in this world, but the room was exactly the same as I was dreaming it. Like it was just the same version. Like what can you make of that one?
Yeah. So usually when we experience sleep paralysis, we are aware of our current surroundings. It usually takes place in the room we're actually in. So the sleep paralysis is such an interesting topic. So
But
first of all,
I was dreaming I was having paralysis. I knew I was like a lucid dream. I knew I was dreaming it.
so dream within a dream.
Right. That was the weird part, because I had sleep paralysis when I was consciously trying to wake up and I couldn't get up. But then I was like dreaming, and I knew I was dreaming about the sleep. That was the weird part.
I so feel you. Like on nights when I can't sleep and it takes me hours to fall asleep, and then I finally fall asleep, and then I dream I'm trying to sleep.
Yes.
This weird loop that we get stuck in. So these sort of things are caused by bad sleep.
Okay.
So this probably happens when you're having a fitful night of sleep, or your sleep routine is way off, or you got to sleep way later than you normally do. Something's off, and your body is, messed up. Your circadian rhythm has been messed with. And so we get stuck in this in-between state. It's called hypnagogia. It's the in-between state of being awake and asleep at the same time. So sleep paralysis is where you're kind of dreaming, but you're aware you're in your bed or the room or whatever, and then you can't move, and it's scary, but you're like, wait, am I dreaming? But wait, no, there's my door,
Right.
is this in-between state where you're stuck. And the reason it happens is because when we enter REM dream sleep, every 90 minutes throughout the night, our brain will release a chemical through our skeletal muscles to paralyze our body. So we don't get up and act out the dream. It's a safety,
Interesting.
safety mechanism. So sometimes when you're having a fitful night of sleep, you'll start to wake up before your brain can reactivate your skeletal muscles, and you get stuck temporarily. It never lasts long. You're stuck temporarily in hypnagogia, and you get that sleep paralysis. And then there's all kinds of weird things that happen. There's the amygdala, the fear center of the brain, is highly active during this state. So it's scary, and sometimes there's like a sinister presence in the room, or pressure on the chest, or your body vibrates, or all kinds of crazy stuff, but it never lasts long. It is completely harmless, and you just give it a minute and you're fine.
And can you also too briefly brush on like the lucid dreaming too? Like, what really creates the lucid dreaming experience, and how can people actually recreate that for themselves?
Okay, so lucid dreaming is when you're in a dream and then you have the awareness, oh, this is a dream. And then you can do anything, no rules. A lot of people will lose anything. Trust me. So a lot of people will use that awareness to get out of the dream, because a lot of times it will kick in when you're in the midst of like a nightmare, and like this axe murderer is on your ass, and you're like, oh, I gotta get out of here, and you wake up and get out of it. When instead you need to stay in the dream and ask a question. Who are you? What do you symbolize? What do I need to know? And you will get an answer. So the lucid dream is this really cool state of consciousness. You're awake and asleep at the same time, and you're as conscious. Your consciousness is as active as your subconscious is at the same time. Because during the day, here's your conscious mind, driving to work, typing your messages, talking to your kids, and your subconscious is down here. And then when you go to sleep, they reverse.
Right.
But in lucid dreaming, they're equal, and you can communicate.
Right. Yes.
You can have a conversation with your subconscious, and you can get profound answers to anything.
Yeah. So very, very beneficial, actually, if people were trying to, induce that type of, perspective. Be very healing too, I would assume, if you utilize it wisely, right?
Yeah, you can heal traumas. You can overcome phobias. You can, just ask your subconscious mind, how do I deal with my mother-in-law? You'll get an answer.
This is interesting, this topic too. It leads to the question I had about my dream and learning information in it. In fact, I've always been a big dreamer, vivid since a very young age. I resonated with you when I first found you because I saw that you talked a lot about the dream journaling. And so to prepare for this show, I was going through my own dream journal to see which one did I want to ask about. I actually came across a dream that my husband, Anthony, had about 8 months ago where we were able to prove some things after the dream, but it was a lucid state. So basically he had a dream that was super vivid. So he knew he was dreaming, where he was talking to somebody that looked like an African tribesman. He was like the oldest, wisest of the tribe. And he said, he and I both knew I was dreaming, and he kept repeating to Anthony over and over again, this, don't forget when you wake up how to spell, and Anthony thought it was his name, but he kept spelling Obuque over to him over and over again. And he said, when you wake up, don't forget this. So when he woke up, we wrote it all down. He told me the whole dream. It was so powerful. And we looked up the word Obuque, thinking that it was a name of something. It turns out it's a word from a tribe in South Africa. It's one of those clicking languages, so it's kind of hard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Yeah. It's so bizarre. And they knew they were dreaming, and the language is XHOSA. It's like, so Oza, I don't want to, butcher it, but we looked it up. We looked at the pronunciation, everything. And the funny thing is the word that he was told not to forget is white. It means white.
White.
So then we talked about it a little more today, and he goes, I couldn't figure out if he was saying, don't forget me, or if he was saying, my name this is my name, or I don't want my tribe to forgive me. But I found another translation that also said the word means you are white.
Right.
Then we got a huge kick out of it. It's like they're sitting there having this conversation, and he's telling them, no, you are white. Remember that. So we were trying to figure out, like,
white boy.
Yeah, with the white light. And this related to a dream I had way back in 2019 about connecting with somebody similar, like a dream worker.
Yeah.
And somebody that I wouldn't have known. So where I'm going with all this is, what has been your experience with people coming to you with all these amazing dreams, with just this information coming in, that there's no other reason for you to have had a connection with this person? It's not from a movie. It's not from, something you've seen before. And how do you interpret something like that? Like, why would we talk about this language that we've never heard of before?
Okay. So there's a few reasons. One is that it could be something he saw on, PBS as a child about this particular tribe that
Wow.
the subconscious has held on to.
Okay.
And that's usually the case.
Okay.
Of course, there are the spiritual elements that could be at play. But
Past lives, right? Memory, past life.
Lauri doesn't comment about those things.
I know.
I will neither confirm or deny it.
I'm just winking. Yeah.
I'm Switzerland.
I have to mention that in my space, so I kind of got to throw it out there for the audience. It could be past life. Just
the feeling, the urgency behind it. That's what I was curious too. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So look at your subconscious as, like I described before. It's always down here, backstage, in the control room, handling things while consciously you're going through your day doing your stuff. and it gathers data and information and holds on to it. And it's this huge warehouse just below the surface of your conscious thinking, where everything you have ever experienced, tasted, done, talked about, thought about is still there, held in this huge subconscious warehouse.
Right.
Wow.
Things you will never think about again until all of a sudden it shows up in your dream for a reason.
Okay.
Because it's connected to something going on with you right now. So if I were to, without having your husband here, I'll do my best. But where I would go first is that element of it, that it's likely something subconsciously you've been holding on to all this time. And so it's a tribesman, and you're learning a different language, which would mean there's probably a new way of communicating you're learning. And then what you're told is, remember, you are white. Now, looking at that symbolically, it would be white usually represents new beginnings, starting over, wiping the slate clean, purity.
Wow.
So what's going on right now where you need to remember, is there a new beginning, or it's okay to start over, or there's always a new chapter,
Yeah, at the
relevant.
time of this dream, he had just gone back to doing more voice acting. He's an attorney, but he started taking jobs again. And that was like right around that time that he started going back to it. So it was kind of a new beginning, but something from the past, which could have been.
And also communication, because voice.
Yes. Oh, wow. Wow. Super powerful. So much symbolism in it. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dreams will blow your mind when you piece them together. All the little pieces of the dream are a part of the big picture when you put them all together. And then nothing is random. Every single thing in the dream, everything from what you think about, from the color of the shirt you're wearing, everything has a meaning and is connected to something and is trying to help you right now in your life.
So much detail there. And you have a book that goes through this, right? I'm so excited to get it. We're out of town right now, but I'm going to order as soon as we get back so I can have it and start going through it.
Yes, there's a dream on it, just like we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
You sleep on it, you're really dreaming on it. So that's the name of the book. Dream on it, Unlock Your Dreams, Change Your Life. Available everywhere on Amazon, all that. It's very helpful and thorough.
Brilliant. One final question, Lauri, that came up through our own people watching right here is, how do drugs and alcohol affect dreams? Is it something that we should pay attention to if we're under the influence of something, or is our subconscious drunk also?
Well,
asking for a friend.
Drunk if you don't understand it, but it's actually the most powerful and most honest and authentic part of who you are. So if you smoke weed, that will hinder your dream recall.
Interesting.
You're going to dream less. Well, you'll still dream, but your ability to recall is way less. Once you stop smoking, boom, it's like opening the floodgates. You're going to dream like crazy because your mind is catching up. If you go to bed drunk, that's going to kill your dream recall. Because you're going to go straight down into deep delta sleep, and you're going to skip some of that very important REM. Also, you're going to sleep like shit. It's going to suck. It's also like certain medications that will like give you crazy dreams, like Nicorettes and all the patches.
Oh, the patches. Yeah.
Yeah. They like, they Reck, they like turn REM into a shit show.
Just like it's like an amplifier, basically, right? It's not like necessarily you're getting different. It's just amplifying, you would say, right?
It's like steroids. It's putting your dreams on steroids.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's still meaning to be found, but it's a lot.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
More chaotic. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then like prednisone will give you like crazy dreams. And like, what is the one that when you're trying to get pregnant, the progesterone, crazy dreams. So yeah, a lot of medications can really affect your dreams.
Cannabis is very successful too. Cannabis.
Cannabis. Yeah. Well, it will suppress dream recall.
Does it really? Does it really?
Yeah, it causes short-term memory loss. And so if the dreams are in the short-term memory.
I've had the opposite effect. I've actually had like more dreams and like, more recollection doing, cannabis in my past. Yeah. I've had more.
Scott, you've asked that question twice tonight. I don't even remember.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're having short-term memory.
He's
The,
lying.
Where
the
am
weed
I?
is clearly affecting.
Yeah.
Devin, what did you
Try
start,
edibles
Devin?
instead.
That's funny. Excellent. Well, Lauri, it's been a blast. We want to thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
We have
Do you have anything you
enjoyed
wanna
this
promote, Lauri?
conversation.
Anything you want to promote, like website and anything you want to, share with us before?
Yeah, so all my social media, if you want to connect with me on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, everything is Lauri the Dream Expert, Lauri, Lauri the Dream Expert. And if you would like to do an in-depth one-on-one dream analysis with me, we can do it over the phone or video. Go to my website, lauriloewenberg.com. Lauri Loewenberg is hard to spell. So if you just Google Dream Expert, I'll be like 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll go very deep into your dream. And it's fun, it's amazing, and it's powerful.
Brilliant. We're so grateful. And please stay backstage. We're just going to wrap up the show. We'd like to say thank you afterwards. But thank you, Lauri. Round of applause for Lauri Loewenberg.
Thank you, Lauri.
That was
Bye,
great.
chat.
So interesting.
Brilliant. We'll see her again sometime. Scott, I think you're up, buddy, to bat.
Am I up to bat? Well, we love this segment called Shoot the Shift. We'd like to know what you guys think. Any kind of comments you guys have, questions y'all have. We'd love to answer that in the comment section. So let's we're going to browse that right now, or are we going to pick one out randomly? What do you think, guys?
Well, I see. First of all, I guess the real question is like, does anyone have, as far as Shoot the Shift, is dream stuff, like what people are
Yeah,
picking
any
up?
dream related questions? Maybe we can
Have
ask
you-
Lauri while she's here, right?
I'm real curious too from the people if their dream activity has increased in the last 3 weeks, Lauri, because right now we have a very interesting astrological aspect of Neptune at the highest degree. Neptune is technically the dreaming planet in astrology. It represents the 12th house and the subconscious, and the dreaming planet is at the highest degree of the dreaming sign, which is Pisces. So I'm wondering if people have had any effect on their dreams the last couple of weeks. Have you noticed a shift, for instance, Lauri?
Let's see. None of my clients have said anything different. Me personally, I've noticed the last couple weeks my dreams are taking place in the past more. My own personal past, a lot more. Old houses, old people I used to know. Going back to when my son was a baby. That's been about
I've
2
heard
weeks
that one
now.
a lot too, about my children being a lot younger, but it's current day. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe it's the time of year.
Yeah, I personally believe it's Neptune. I mean, but it's been interesting. And I have noticed right now we're also doing a lot of karma review right now, Lauri. So people are reviewing their what they have going on karmically, and they're having like life reviews. So I'm not surprised about that either.
Right.
Has she frozen?
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I was like, she doesn't seem very fond of your statement there, Chris, where she's like,
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
She's
I'm having this
dumb.
effect on people.
Yeah.
karma,
Okay.
great,
Brilliant. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see her backstage one time
Yeah.
in the future. But to wrap up the show, we do with Chris here. Chris, our psychic reading
Yes.
roulette is on you, brother.
Yes, last week, China actually was able to land on the back of the moon, the far side of the moon, which they're saying no one has ever done before. And they're doing this to collect soil samples on the back side of the moon, or the far side of the moon. So my question to all of you is there a space station on the back side of the moon? And I'm going to go to Devon first.
I'm getting there's definitely something there more than soil that they're very interested in. I'm not getting a full functional station right now, but I am getting that there's a much bigger reason for China to put that kind of investment and time in there besides collecting soil data. Scott?
I feel like the moon has always been utilized for something that we're not told about. So I think that this information is just a continuation of what's already been going on the moon. And so I would say yes, yes, yes. And, more so in the future. So whether there has been, I always kind of felt that. I felt like it was a station for something. And so, but yeah, I definitely do feel like there would be something in the future too.
Psychically, I get a strong yes. I always have. There's something really strange about the moon. It just feels. I mean, just looking at it is weird to me.
Right?
Right. Like there's something about it that's been creepy. But what I do feel up psychically is I do feel like there is a subtle race to the moon right now.
Right.
That's happening because India just crashed a rocket. Didn't Japan just crash on the moon? Like,
Right.
like every nation seems to be all heading there suddenly. And I feel like there's something they know that we don't. I know there's hydrogen 3 there, and that's one of the reasons why people want to go is for hydrogen 3. But it feels like there's something else, and the governments are kind of privately racing towards whatever that is. Sort of like Antarctica, which would be another week's question.
Yeah, we gotta have that one.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
All
what
right,
do the cards
friends.
say, Chris?
I personally think that it's a space station. I think I'm in line with Scott there. I think that it was probably dragged into our orbit from something else, and it's basically like the Death Star. I feel like this card is saying that I'm 100% right. So that's what I feel.
We are 100% right.
Yeah, we are right. Exactly.
Very curious. Well,
the two Scotts are correct.
That's right. Scott Reck and Scott Cruz.
Here's a follow-up, just out of curiosity. Do you psychically feel we'll ever find out in our life what the truth is with that? Or is that just going to stay hidden?
I actually, I also think that we will. I think we're gearing up to find out a lot more about a lot of stuff over the next couple of years, and that's part of it. So yes.
I agree with Chris. Same thing. I feel absolutely. I think that, we're going to, for sure, in our lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to, it would actually be hard to hide it, I think, which is why we'll find out about it.
Yeah, it'll be really obvious, but I'm also getting that there will still be people who will still totally try to not believe it at all. So you're going to have the people who just totally deny. But I do think everything you guys are saying, it's going to be hard not to see it.
Tower card just flew out of my deck, so I don't know.
What is that tarot card? That looks like some. What is that?
Yeah,
it's very neon deck. It's very like neon centric,
like it matches your background. You were just so coordinated.
Thank
Have
you.
these printed just for the show.
I think about things. Yeah.
Right on. Well, astrology would say with Pluto and Aquarius, highly likely we'll find out in the next 24 years with Pluto climbing up Aquarius. Highly likely. And I actually feel contact too, but we'll see. All right.
Me too.
Well, that wraps up another fantastic show. I want to say thank you to Lauri Loewenberg for being our guest today. Sorry she had to freeze out like that. That wasn't the way we wanted to close that. We'll have to have her back sometime. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next week. And remember, folks, don't put up with a shift show. Lead out loud. See you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.